Let's recall where we are in terms of this sign up page. We actually do have a route for this. Right, so this will be a sign up page for new users. It will be. We're actually going to fulfill this promise in the next few sections. So let's take a look at how to do this. So let's go to App, Controllers, and this is the user's controller. So remember this new page, this is /signup, but we can look at the routes. Right, /signup is actually being routed to users new. So that's in the user's view. So that's in, or the new view in the users directory here, app views users. So this is what produces this page here. And this is where we'll actually put this form. So we've already got our title and our h1. I'm going to put in a div. In fact, it's going to be very similar to what we just did with the profile. Remember here. Copy over some of this stuff. We're going to have a row, and it's actually just the row. So we're going to start with this. And then there's another div. These are bootstrap classes related to columns on the grid. And we can put our ending divs. There's our ending div and another ending div. All right. So this is where the real magic happens. So we're going to use a Rails method called form_for that's going to create a form for manipulating a user. And in this case, we actually want an @user variable. Remember, here we did @user equals user.find, and then we were able to use that user here, @user.name, @user.name. So what we want to do here is create a new user. Rather than defining it in the database, it should be equals, and we're just going to use the constructor user.new. This is just a blank user variable. So @user equals user.new, and then let's put in the form_for. So form_for is a predefined method in Rails, and we're going to give it the @user, and it's going to use the information inside this user. Remember, users know their own attributes, like the email address, the name, and so on. It's going to use that to construct a form for manipulating this user, in this case, for creating the user. So form_for takes a block with a one variable. We'll call it f for form. You can see this is all inside embedded Ruby, so this is being evaluated as Ruby. And in fact, the equal sign indicates that we're actually putting something into the template. Older versions of form_for actually worked without that, but this is a better design. And we need an end. So remember, there's a do and then an end. This is how you deal with blocks. So this is embedded Ruby. We're going to have now a block inside of embedded Ruby. And now what we need to do is create these kinds of fields: name, email, password confirmation. So Rails comes with helpers for that, and in this case, because we're giving a block variable here, they're actually attached to this object, this form object. So in particular, we can create a label. That's this thing here, this name here. That's the label. So let's give it. We can give it a symbol. Rails will actually know what to do with that, as we'll see in a moment. And in fact, we can actually just do this incrementally. We can even save this here and take a look at it. Here we go. As you can see, it's just a bare label. There's nothing else here yet. But you can see that there's something working. That's pretty impressive. All right, so let's add in a text field corresponding to this here, this thing here. So this is an HTML text field. So let's do f dot. We'll take a look at the HTML structure in a moment. Again, this takes a symbol. This is a Rails method. It takes a symbol, which is the name of the attribute. Let's take a look at what that does. So you can see the styling isn't quite right compared to the mockup, but this is a good start. We can actually type into this already. We want name, email, password, and password confirmation, right, from our mockup. Right, these are the name, email, password confirmation. So let's just copy this here. Do do this here. It's too many new lines, so let's do this here. So this is email. Oh, by the way, you could see here that it's capital N name. So Rails knew what to do with this label. It automatically capitalized it. So this is email. And this is password. Actually, I didn't need to do that, did I? So there we go. Let's take a look at this. All right, the styling's all messed up, but we can already see that we're going to be able to put things in here. Now, there's one thing you might notice, though, if I start putting in a password. Oh, that's not good. Right, I can actually see it. That is not the usual convention. The usual convention is to have these be asterisks like this. So let's use the field for that. It's actually called password field. So here we are. Now if I type into this box, aha, that's exactly what I was hoping for. And now let's add the final thing, which is the submit button. And this takes in some text. I'll call it create my account. And let's give it some classes. These are Bootstrap classes. It's a button and it's a primary button. So button, button primary. Take a look at that again. All right, so now all we need is some CSS to style this thing. So let's open up our CSS file. This is going to be some CSS for forms generally. And I'm just going to copy this in from the tutorial book. So let's go here. Here it is. Copy this in. And the main thing I want you to notice here is that we've actually reused this box sizing. So this is what this mixin gets you. This box sizing mixin is we can reuse it in multiple places just using add include. Or we use it for the debug information here, the debug dump. But so now we're using it also for this form. So let's do this and refresh it. And there we go. That's a pretty good match for the mockup. The only real difference is the button here, which is now all the way across the screen. But that's the kind of thing that's okay not to match up between a mockup and the actual page. But this is good. This is a really good start. Oh, there's one more thing I want to do. You can see here it says password and password confirmation. Again, the mockup doesn't have to match exactly, but we have password here and confirmation here, and this is actually just a useful technique to know. This is fine having password confirmation here, but I actually want to show you how to change that if you don't want it to match up exactly. So this is on new. So you can, what Rails is doing, you can see what it's doing is it's taking this and it's basically capitalizing the first letter and getting rid of this underscore and turning it into a space. That's actually the label here. So that's where this comes from, password confirmation. It's being transformed from here. But sometimes maybe you might want it to be something different. So let's do this. Let's say confirmation. So there's actually an optional argument here, which is a string, which is the name of the field. So let's take a look at that. There we go.